We'd like to thank Ring Central for sponsoring and making this show possible. Without Ring Central, this wouldn't be happening. Ring Central has been a big part of Telarus for years. In fact, last year was our top booking UCaaS provider. If you haven't engaged with Ring Central and made them a part of your strategy, please reach out to them now. Welcome to another edition of Business Transformations. My guest today, Bret Hickenlooper, principal of Sumo. Bret, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adam.
So, Bret, local guy here, homegrown hero. I can see the mountains behind you here in Salt Lake. You built this business over the last 18 years. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Why did you start Sumo?
I started Sumo mostly because I was a telecom sales guy, and I got tired of the rat race, got tired of Monday morning meetings, quotas resetting every month, the whole chase, hero today, zero tomorrow, and got tired of that. And I'd be lying if I said that's honestly the only reason why I started it. I started it because I got laid off. And I shiver to think what would have happened if I had kept my job. I don't think I ever maybe would have had the courage to start Sumo, but I got laid off. I got a 6-month severance package, had a whole bunch of money in the bank that Missy and I had saved up. We were still in our starter home and thought, you know, I'm young. I was young back then. And I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. I felt like I had nothing to lose if I wasn't able to pull it off. I could certainly go get a sales job again. And so the timing was right. In 2002, it was right when the dot-com bubble burst. And a lot of people were looking to save money, and that's what telecom agents did. Just talk to people about their bills and told them we could save them money, and certainly had plenty of providers that we could pull into the mix to show people how we could save them money. And anyway, my first year, I think I made $5,000. Year two, I made about 50 grand. And I've probably told you this before, Adam. I think it took about 7 years until I was able to replace my income that I made at Quest before I was laid off.
So that's an important point. I don't think many people understand. I think a lot of people look in our industry. You know, they're working for a supplier, they're a direct rep or whatever else, and look over and they see successful agents like you and they think, I could do that. But I don't think most people know what went on during those 7 years. In fact, when you and I talked, you mentioned selling the toys. Like you actually had to get rid of some things and trim down your lifestyle substantially.
Absolutely. We had camper trailers that were paid for, motorcycles that were paid for, guns, all kinds of things that were just assets of ours. And as we began to run out of money, a year, 18 months into our this experiment of starting Sumo, we ran out of money, and it just every month we sold something, or every few months, you know, we sold a camper trailer, and we had about maybe 4 or 6 months worth of mortgage payments and food. And then that ran out. We sold a truck. And we had another 3 or 4 months of mortgage payments and food, and other things. But it was a really tough time, and my wife was very supportive, and somehow we made it. We stayed in our little starter home for 11 years, probably longer than we wanted to. My whole family made sacrifices. My boys had 2 XR70 motorcycles, 2 boys. And that was about the last thing we sold. I think I got, between the 2 of those motorcycles, I covered 1 more month of mortgage payments, and got rid of those. So it was something, you know, we definitely went from, I had a very successful career. I was making good money and walked away from that to chase this dream. And in hindsight, knock on wood, I was able to pull it off. And sometimes I call that naivety or, blind ambition. Whatever it was, it worked. And other people can do it. They just have to realize, look, you're going to, it's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to take time to build up this business.
I don't think people understand how long the sacrifice is. I mean, in fact, one of the things you told me is you traded your gun. You mentioned a gun. You actually traded that for rent.
Yeah, don't turn me in anywhere. I'm not sure there was legitimate paperwork on that, but yeah, for sure. I had an office because I felt like that made me more legitimate to have an office, business cards, a website. I use the word we a lot. At Sumo, we, help you save money. And it was just me. But it did reach a point where not just covering my mortgage, but covering the basic, costs of running a business. And I was renting some space in Salt Lake City at a data center in Salt Lake and went to the guy I was renting from and said, hey, I can't pay you rent for the next couple of months, but I have a gun that I'm happy to trade. And he was a gun guy and was all over it. So, bought me another 3 months, I think, of rent there. And that was just an ongoing exercise of just trying to make it to the next turn in the business. And as you know, and many agents out there know, once you sell something, it's a long wait to get paid the first time. Once the pay starts coming and it starts to layer in with different sales that you have, then you start to get more comfortable. But it's the wait between the initial sales and when you finally get paid that there's certainly a gap there that people have to figure out.
Absolutely. So you go through that phase, you go through the starving years, you reestablish your life. How long was it before you hired your first employee?
I was a one-man show for 10 years. And after 10 years, I thought, well, I could use some help with some bookkeeping. I didn't really have a background in finance. And I thought at least that. So I hired a bookkeeper. And from there, started for a few years, was really, really successful as a one-man show and brought on a ton of accounts and a ton of business and decided it was time that I needed some help. I actually realized at one point that I was passing on opportunities. I was overlooking opportunities because I didn't have the bandwidth or time to chase the new opportunities. I was too busy just managing, what I had already sold. So I thought if I was going to grow the business, we've talked before, Adam, about this concept of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And feeling like we're tricking the world because I'm a one-man show, I'm running a business, I'm trying to convince my customers that Sumo is something that they need, and yet it's only me. It's me opening trouble tickets, it's me fixing billing problems, and it's me doing all the sales. And that just wasn't sustainable. It's not a long-term strategy. You can do it, and certainly I had the skill set to do it, and I was fine doing it for a while, but it wasn't scalable. It wasn't something that I could grow. And I finally realized that I need to quit being an imposter or a pretender and approach this like a real business. And that was a turning point for me, was starting to hire some people and trust them to do some things that I was doing myself.
And a big turning point. So that was one of the decisions I found in your story that was really interesting is you made this decision at a point in time that I'm going to build a business. This is not just going to be a lifestyle. I'm going to build a business, including a culture and a strong organization and good people, not just any employees, but good people that you were able to attract, which was a big pivot that I've seen in your business. You also made another pivot, which was in terms of the product set. You went from network and then got into data center. Why did you make that decision?
Yeah, I saw the network pricing just dropping through the floor. It didn't seem like networks of the past were as expensive as networks of the future. Internet pricing was dropping through the floor. Network pricing was dropping. The technology was changing. It shifted from point-to-point private line circuits to frame relay to ATM to MPLS. And with every turn, there was this sense of customers trying to save money on that and just driving price points down. And we could add value by helping them, again, right size their network. But I think that if the value that we're pushing in the agent world is just saving people money, it doesn't have legs. It won't last. We have to figure out ways to really provide value. And I thought Colo was one way I could carve out a niche. When I started selling Colo, there weren't a lot of people doing it. And I had a couple of customers that liked me, that had bought network from me, that were looking at Colo. And on their coattails, maybe, I traveled the world. I went everywhere. China, Japan, Singapore, Australia, all over Europe. I've toured more data centers than, for example, most Equinix employees. I've been in more of their data centers than most of their employees. So really carved out an expertise and had a commitment early on that if I was going to pitch something to a customer, I was going to be an expert. And you become an expert not just by studying, being a bookworm and attending trainings. You do it by engaging with customers. The best way to learn is on the street, pitching that to a customer. And so I just decided I was going to do that. And what I saw in Colo was a customer would move 2 racks into a space, and without fail, that would grow. Their need for more power and more space would expand over the course of a year, 2 or 3. So it's a land and expand product. Whereas network and things like that, they're one and done. You sell a network and the network gets deployed and installed, and maybe somebody adds a site in Beijing, or they add a site in Frankfurt, or a site in Atlanta, and you get a little uptick when they add a site, and that's great. But Colo to me seemed like something that was, again, we could carve out a niche, we could be special, we could be experts, and help somebody find the right solution for them. And once they're in, they stay. Even if it becomes painful to stay in a facility, it's hard for a customer to move. And that doesn't make the product great. The product is space and power. The power should stay on. And if the power stays on, customers are not inclined to want to move it. So it's been a great product for us and something that's contributed quite a bit to Sumo's recurring revenue.
So you established yourself. You're the expert on data center. You're all over the world advising companies. And then you did it again. You decided to go all in on contact center. So things are great in data center, but why contact center? Why were you attracted to that? And once again, just went all in to really changing the identity of your company to we are contact center experts. Tell us about that.
Yeah, honestly, Adam, I wish I could tell you I had an aha moment in the middle of the night and said, we're going to do contact center. But it wasn't that. I had some of my customers that have been longtime customers of Sumo that started to talk to contact center platforms like Nice and Contact and Five9 and Genesis and all the others that are out there. And honestly, it was a knee-jerk reaction of mine that said, over my dead body is someone else going to sell my customer technology services just because I'm not familiar with them. I'm going to get familiar with them. And so I sensed, a lot of times the noise and the direction that we head, I've always said we sell what's selling. What are our customers buying? And peek around the corner and go wide and deep in your accounts. And you begin quickly to understand that they might be buying some services you're not selling. And contact center was one of them. And we had Telarus, you guys had a contact center team there that kept saying, you guys should get in this business. It's just like Colo, it's land and expand. You guys would be great at it. And for a while I was reluctant, and mostly because UCaaS, I couldn't figure out who was who in the UCaaS business. And it just felt very similar to that to me early on. But then we engaged with a few of our customers on some contact center opportunities. And very quickly, I remember the day I sat with my team and said, you know what, guys, we're going to make a pivot. We're going to be contact center experts. And we committed the team, all of us at Sumo together, to attend every training that was available on every platform. If they had certifications available, we let you guys know and everybody in the industry know that we were committed to the space. And it's paid dividends for us. We made that pivot about 3 or 4 years ago, Adam, if you remember,
Yep.
and made a big splash. I mean, we've been to Nice and Contact, President's Clubs. We've sold 5.9. We've sold in Contact. We've sold TalkDesk, Sharpen, Serenova, Genesis, and the list goes on. And we've become very familiar.
Here's what I love is that you made that declarative statement. You made that commitment, but you guys weren't contact center experts. It was really an intention that we're going to go make this happen.
Yes. And, we have some core values that we live by at Sumo and things that everybody kind of enrolls in. And one of them is to be experts at the products and services we recommend. Adam, we've talked about security, and Sumo has done some security deals, but it's not our core competency. It's not something where we can stand in front of a customer and say that we're experts of this product. And contact center wasn't either for us early on. We did make a declaration and just said, we are going to be experts at contact center solutions and fully committed to the space. And it's paid dividends. Again, it's just like Colo. It's land and expand. If somebody needs 100 seats, odds are that they're not going to only need 75 or 50 a year from now. They're going to need more. And just a beautiful business for us to kind of get in. And then there's a lot of ancillary services that you can plug into contact center: workforce management, analytics, gamification. All these things are plugins and add-ons, and we're finding ways to sell products to our customers that I just never dreamed that I would do. If you asked me 19 years ago if I thought I'd be selling software, there's no way I would have even believed it.
So you make the decision after 10 years of slugging it out, I'm going to be a business, I'm going to hire, and I'm going to expand, to building this culture and an environment that you've got today. Then you decide, I'm changing the product set to data center. Then you decide, we're going to be contact center experts. What's next for Sumo?
Yeah, Adam, by deciding that we're going to do these things doesn't mean that we recklessly abandon the other things that we do well. We sell network rolling out of bed. And if you look historically, the makeup of Sumo's base of revenue, there's quite a bit of it that is still network. And we're still quoting and selling network. And we will. We're still quoting and selling Colo. I anticipate over the next 2 or 3 years that contact center will be our biggest growth channel, that we'll be selling more contact center than any other product. If you look at our funnel today, if you were to divide our funnel up by product, contact center is probably 70% of our funnel, our active working funnel. And I anticipate that being, as long as contact center is the next big thing, it's going to be the next big thing for us. But we're peeking around the corner. I anticipate in the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be more. There's going to be something else that's going to come around and surprise the channel. But we're committed. Sumo's going to grow 2 or 3 times our size in the next couple of years. We're going to hire experts. We're going to hire people that can present themselves to customers as trusted advisors, as consultants and experts. And the channel has a ton of potential for that. I think early on in the channel, everybody would admit that it was a relationship game, and gals got into customers because they had a relationship with someone. That's still the case in sales in general, but customers want more from us in the channel than just a relationship or a golf buddy. They want us to provide value. And we're committed to that at Sumo. We're committed to building an organization that, regardless of what customer engages us on network or Colo or contact center or UCaaS, we're going to provide value. And not just on the front end. We're building an organization that's very committed to implementation and being part of implementation and part of ongoing support. And that's something that's new to a lot of customers. A lot of people that grew up in the channel knew that they had to just sell something and then go sell something else. It's how we make money. You have to just keep selling. But I'm interested, and the growth I see in Sumo is going to be in our service organization and how we service customers, both through implementation. Contact center is very complex. Implementations are messy. And we have a team of people here that are committed to seeing it through for our customers and making our providers keep promises. And if they do, that's a long-term solid base of revenue for Sumo. And it's something, because it's so complex to sell, we don't want to reinvent the wheel every 2 or 3 years. We just want to make sure that the implementations go well and our customers are happy, and that will make that business sticky.
Well, Bret, great story. I love the background. I love the deliberateness that you made in making those critical decisions along the way. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, and thank you for your partnership.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adam.
That's all we have today on Business Transformations. Thanks for joining us.